Welcome to the Cursed Curs. I'm going to get right into it. I just went to my first grand tournament, and these are some of my takeaways that may help someone new to it like me. Time clocks, you are not required to use them, but there's some games I regretted not using them because I was just there to play for fun. One guy I played spent 35 minutes on his first movement phase, and put in context, we have an hour and 20 minutes each to play the game. So he was just too slow on everything, and it cost me time to play my army and give me a better shot to play against him. If his time clock runs out, he can't do anything except for hold objectives. So that would have been huge. Carts. I didn't know until the day before to bring a cart, and this is what I found at home to bring. It worked great, but not the most ideal for bringing a card to a grand tournament, though it did help me with all of my basic needs. Here is what you should have brought. Something similar to this. I saw a lot of players using it. They would have their metal trays on to have their armies magnetized to it, and they would have anything else they need on the bottom rack. Usually theirs were 2 racks. I'm not sure why I couldn't find a picture of a double racked one, but 3 rack, not really much different. So this is really what you should be looking for, and these are a lot more stable. So I recommend finding that. But as I said, mine worked. As you can see, I've got my piece of my army on all 3 platforms. I've got a bag with some stuff that I bought. I've got a cooler with some drinks, my sweatshirt stuff there. Really, I have everything I needed. As I said, it worked great, just there's better options. Now going into it, my first game I got completely tabled. This tournament was 8 games. First 4 games decides where you place for the rest of the competition, and then the last 4 games is you're competing to win your bracket. My first game was against Chaos Space Marines, I believe Veterans of the Long War, and I forgot what his secondary detachment was, but he completely controlled the whole game. Learned a lot from how to play. He is a competitive player. First tournament, I'm new to playing Warhammer. I just went for fun. So it makes sense I was tabled, but always ask what you could have done better after, and he gave me some great advice. Game after that, another competitive guy who just had terrible luck with who he played in the first round, but definitely was way above my level. He was playing Tau, and I'd never played Tau before. I'm Chaos Marines, not Murder Talon, but Nightmare Hunt, so I need to be kind of aggressive. I was not aggressive, and I paid for it. After that, I played Knights, probably one of my favorite games. This was my first win on day 1. I find that I am good at playing Knights, or at least I feel like it. I can use my Raptors to get around his army. I had 2 heavy weapons to help distract him for him to focus on while all my smaller guys are getting objectives or finished up heavily damaged Titans. Or not Titans, but Knights. So that was really fun. The next day, I started off with a big win as well against the Guard. The tough part about the Guard is they just have so many units. So I feel like I did pretty good of controlling play, and for the most part getting him to go where I wanted him. But the 2 Mastiff Beyblades were a big issue. I was able to handle it. Kind of similar to Knights, I just spread out and took objectives because most of my Marine units would easily be taking out the infantry for the Guard. He did, I don't play Guard, so this isn't right terminology, but he had a stratagem where they drop a bomb and gives mortals and essentially takes out the whole of both units. That is the hardest thing that I had to play against because he could sacrifice units. I didn't really have that ability with how much he had going on, but this was a huge win, so I was pretty happy with it. And his Guard was actually kind of similar to mine. Of course, he had more vehicles, but his had pretty fast. He had a couple, I think he had 3 jump pack units. So he kind of had the same game plan as me, but in the end, I just had stronger infantry and was a little bit more mobile than him. After this is where the problem started. I had a goal of winning 2 of my 8 games at the tournament. First ever tournament. I hadn't even been really playing the game for a full year. So I thought it was a good goal. And I hit that in the phase where you're still going to be put into a bracket. So I got put into a middle bracket when I probably should have been the lowest bracket because of my 2 wins. So right away that started hitting with the next bracket. And I think that's when things probably started going downhill, because there were people that I probably could have beaten, but I just didn't know their armies well enough. And yeah, I'd say that's my biggest issue. I didn't know their armies well enough for these remaining games. First up was a really good game. Out of all my losses, I think this was my best loss, but also the most winnable game. As I said, I feel like I'm starting to get good at playing Knights specifically. This guy was Knights, had a very similar setup to the first Knights player I played, but he has been playing the game much longer, so he knew a little bit more about what he was doing. I was getting my places. I don't think I was aggressive enough in trying to attack some of his big units, and almost the whole game I had my chosen in reserves, which caused some issues. My first big loss of the bracket came after the close Knights game, and that was to Custodes. I did the opposite of what I needed to do. With the Tau, I wasn't aggressive enough to start. I should have been more aggressive. The Custodes, I was so aggressive to start, and I just did not realize how strong they were and deadly. I knew they were a lot stronger than my units and deadlier, but again, I just did not comprehend, and he completely was taking out my army. Very nice guy. I got a lot of good advice from him after the game, but the game itself did leave a lot to be desired, and that ended my day 2. Knowing what I know now, I think I could have won that game, but I would have had to go completely different. Day 3. First army I play is Custodes again, and this is the guy that I had problems with. I wish I would have used a time clock. He took so long on everything he did, and our game already started late because both of our assigned partners didn't show up. I won't say that I had a bad experience with any game except for this one. This one caused issues. The last game was the most fun game of the tournament. It was against Battle Sisters, and I had an incredible start. I took out, I believe, all of his tanks by round 2. If not, maybe one was left at a couple wounds, but I took out all of his deadly weapons, and then I just had to deal with the sisters. Everything I did on this game, I think I played correctly, except for one thing. My chosen unit with the Master Possession and the Masters of the Maelstrom, I think I was too aggressive to start with, because he moved all of his sisters with Meltas, all of their gun units, in to take them out. So that expensive 300-something brick of units ended up getting killed pretty early on. Outside of that, this game was so fun, so close. It came to the wire. It ended up being 95-93, my win. Overall, I'm super happy I went. My biggest recommendation is, if you're a new player and you're scared to go to a tournament, just go. You're going to learn a lot more than playing one game weekly or playing casually with your friends. You'll get more experience, and you can immediately start working on fixing your mistakes in the next game. Incredible experience. I loved all of it except for that one game that I mentioned, and I definitely will be going again next year.